complaints we have, and believe me, we read the emails, we read the posts, we know what people liked and didn't like, but one of the big complaints was that the targeting didn't feel strong enough in picking who you wanted to target. So that's always a nightmare for us, because you can get it right 90% of the time. That's not good enough. So one of the things we did this year is, as soon as you bring out a weapon, bam, there's your pipper right in front of you to be able to basically target whatever you want. If you so desire, you can also lock on at that time and then go for different targets on the body. So once you've locked on with the left trigger, you can actually adjust with the right stick. You can disarm someone. You can take out their gun arm if you don't want to kill them, and say it's a cop and you don't want the heat. Or if you just want to wound them, let's say it's a merchant you're trying to extort but not kill, you can just pop them in the foot. You can also take people out in the knees and actually bring them down to their knees.
We did a few of those.
So once you've got some on your knees, actually each execution has two different flavors. So you can execute them when they're standing up, if they're weak enough, or if they're down on their knees and they're in a vulnerable state. We essentially allow you to bring up a CSA and say, execute is now available. If you want to hit that button and get a little brief moment of invulnerability and I'm going to do that execution, you can, and enjoy that. Or you can choose to ignore that if you want.
I also like how the aggressive side of it, the actual pummeling and punching and shooting, is actually, the controls are not very difficult to understand. I think a novice gamer could definitely pick up this game and understand it. The controls are very easy to understand, and everything's right there for you. It tells you, right stick is to pummel them, or you hold both left trigger and right trigger and you can grab someone by the shoulders, and that's pretty neat that it is very user-friendly, especially, for either an advanced or a novice gamer. And
yeah, Mike Olson, our creative director, the Black Hand system is really his baby, and he's like a mad genius about trying to get controls intuitive with what you're doing on screen. And so one of the tenets we took this year was to do things in layers. So everyone's going to get, okay, left trigger is left arm, right trigger is right arm, and then there's another layer of gamer who's going to figure out, oh, there's combos too. If I hit this one twice and this one once, I'm going to do an arm break, or I'm going to kick him in the nuts, or do something like that. So we try to do it in layers, and then maybe you'll get the pummels. Maybe you'll figure out that by grabbing someone by the lapels and then pushing in both sticks, you actually strangle them. It can actually bring them to the knees and feel the heartbeat of the controller.
Some of that. And also the extortion part of it is also interesting. It's just got a lot of really unique layers, as you said, and I think that it'll be an interesting game.
Yeah, the extortion is cool. It's sort of the bread and butter of the first game, and it's still a big part of the second game. But we've sort of doubled down on the concept of a weak spot, where every merchant has something that they really, are vulnerable to,
right,
and will give you a cash bonus if you can find it. So it might be, hitting them with a baseball bat, or roughing up their customers, or even just destroying their merchandise might be their particular weak spot.
Right. I noticed while we were playing and going around the city and doing our different targets, the dawn aspect definitely kicks in to remind you, okay, you're not just a guy running around. It reminds you that your business is being taken over, so you definitely have to take care of each place. So in a way, it very much is a management tool, saying, okay, you may have had it, but you got to take care of it.
Right. But we try to keep it as easy as possible to have little reminders. Like, we were very cognizant that we didn't want people to feel burdened by the management. So one of the things you do when you take over business now is that you have to guard it. Unlike the first game where you would just sort of sweep over the map, uncontested, every other rival family is now competing with you for those exact same resources. They want the crime rings just like you do, so they can get the bulletproof vests or the armored cars.
Right. Something else you had talked about in your presentation was how one of the complaints were that the maps were way too big in the original version, and we also saw today the maps are definitely much more condensed. It's very easy to get from place to place. And we hijacked the car and realized we could have walked down the block because it was right there.
Right.
So I thought that was unique too, that everything is far enough that it takes you some time to get there, but close enough that it doesn't take you the whole game to get to the other side.
Right. Yeah, New York is the smallest city, and that's where we sort of let you explore the systems of the game, and then we open you up to Miami, which is bigger, and then to Cuba, and at that point you're actually free to travel within all 3 cities. But it was very conscious for us that we just didn't want to go big for the sake of being big without gameplay in there. So we tried to make it as dense and as fun as we could. You know, one of the quotes that I remember from reading the reviews of the first one was like, you know, I commute in real life, like, and getting back to what you said about, you know, video games being a fantasy, like, commuting is not anyone's fantasy, like, driving.
You want it to be fun but not work.
Yeah.
You
Let's
don't
get
want
to the
it to
fun.
be easy.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. And now, so we've been playing New York, and hopefully we'll get to Miami, but if not, I mean, when the game launches, we'll eventually get there. But what are things that we'll see in Miami and then eventually Cuba? Obviously, each one will be a little bit harder.
Yeah, so one of the things that you're going to find is that you're going to start uncovering more families. And the game space only increases. It's not like New York is gone. When you open in Miami, it's like the game board has doubled, if you will.
You still have to take care of New York, even though
You
you're
still
Miami.
have to take care of New York. But the cool thing about having a family is that you don't have to necessarily go do everything on your own. You could go to the Dungs, you could go to your family tree, you've got 7 guys, you know what? I'm doing okay over here. I'm going to send my capo to go bomb a crime ring in Miami. I'm going to send a couple of my soldiers to actually take over a business for me in New York. And I'm going to go hunt down this mid-man that's been driving me crazy, attacking my businesses, and I'm going to take him out with a Molotov.
Right.
So, or take them all with you and do it yourself. You're done. Choice is up to you.
Right, and then if one of your camp or your captains or your soldiers aren't working out for you, you take them out.
Find someone with a better weapons license, someone who has a specialty you like. You can even find people who have 2 specialties as a soldier. So that means when you promote them to capo, they have 3. When they get to underboss, they have 4. So a huge advantage.
Okay, so why should our audience buy this game?
So we think that that this is going to be something really different that people haven't tried before, and we're really excited for people to be able to have that fantasy of actually being part of an organized crime family, and not only part of it, but one that you run, and you get to make the calls. You get to decide who you want to go after for a hits. You know, you don't get a call from somebody telling you to do it. You decide. You know, you decide which crime rings you want to go over. So that sense of building a family, being able to have them with you or send them out to do jobs in the world, we're really excited about people experiencing that and having something different in the open world genre.
And the game will be available on all platforms?
It's available this February 2009 on PS3, Xbox 360, and on PC.
Yesterday, the CEO of EA had his conference call and announced that there was a lot of layoffs with EA. How does that affect your game or the future of the franchise?
It was, you know, a slightly disheartening announcement. Obviously, there's a lot of dreary economic news in the world, in a lot of industries. You know, as a team, we really try to focus on the only thing that we do have control of, which is putting our hearts and souls into making the game as good as we can. You know, the reason that we're here and that we put in the hours that we do is because we care and we're gamers, and we really want to make a great game that people enjoy and have fun with. And you know, I don't have any control over layoffs or profit margins or whatever. What I do have control of is working as hard as I can to make the game the best I can.
No, that's admirable. I mean, definitely anyone that works in what they love, I mean, that's just completely respectable. So, and you can tell, like, these guys love what they do, and we love what you do. We're all gamers, so.
We appreciate it, yeah.
Best of luck to you guys, and
Thank you.
hopefully you'll survive everything.
Yeah, thanks.